5.2, higher turnout in Florida, a very competitive race. Again, we have to wait. We're going to count some things here, but Democrats are not happy, particularly with down here in Miami-Dade, 53%. You see 53-46, you think that's great, but that's way below where Hillary Clinton was 4 years ago. So you're looking at this map here. The plus side for the Democrats is out here in Arizona, where Joe Biden right now, 75% of the vote, 54 if you round up to 45. That's a big shift from 4 years ago when the president won at 49, 45, a 4-point race. You see the president, Joe Biden, the Democrat, above 50 there. So let's just put this into context. Number one, this was the name of the game in 2016. We're not done. We're not done. We're not done. Some of these states could go on into tomorrow. But as you look at this map, many Democrats say it does raise the scenario many of them are worried about. An hour or two from now, is the president going to come out and say, I win, if he's still leading in those states? We're not done. That's not how we count. These states will decide who wins their elections, and we have a lot of votes to count. But the question is, the name of the game, well, if I'm going to switch maps here, is this is where we are right now, 94 to 72. There are no surprises on this map so far. Everything we see filled in is the way we thought it would go coming into the night. There are also, though, if you think about out here, where we haven't counted votes yet because it's still early in the night, people are still voting. We don't think there are any more surprises out that way, if you will. Nevada was the one Clinton state. The Trump campaign made a run. We'll see. But we expect that to stay Democratic, which is why things get interesting now. Again, we haven't called some of these close states, but this is the calculation in both of the campaign war rooms. This is where Donald Trump started. Joe Biden has to look at this map and say, what do I take away to get him below 270 and to get me to 270? So Joe Biden wanted Florida. Not yet. We'll see. We'll keep counting. Doesn't look that way. Wanted North Carolina. Donald Trump has a lead right now. We'll see. We'll get to the finish line. Georgia, we got a lot of votes out. The Democrats had these targets of opportunity. Can we get these states can we get a surge? We'll watch Georgia. We're still missing a lot of Democratic votes. Texas is filling in red. Again, we haven't called it. We have a ways to go, but it's filling in red right now. So far, you look like you're getting that, right? We're not done. We're not done in Arizona yet either. But as you project it out, okay, now you got the president at 295. If you're not going to get Ohio, haven't called it yet, we're waiting. There's a possibility some votes out, North Carolina or Florida. Where do you go? Well, then we come back. Number one, let's just assume for the sake of argument, Joe Biden gets the congressional district here. Hard to see if there is a Trump election day surge. The president went out here and did a rally, but the Democrats are pretty confident they're going to pick up the one in the 2nd district of Nebraska. So let's do that for the hypothetical. We'll watch as it plays out. Then you're at 293 to 245. So then we come down to where we ended 4 years ago, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, right? And so Joe Biden, 1, 2, gets you to the finish line. You don't absolutely need Pennsylvania. If you win Maine's 2nd congressional district, if you win Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, and you hold Arizona, you can do it without Florida, without Georgia, without North Carolina, without Ohio, and without Pennsylvania. But you have to win these two. Right? If you can win this as well, then it's game over. We've always known if Joe Biden could rebuild the blue wall, forgive me, Donald Trump would pay for it. The question is, can he make it happen when right now, if you look over here, again, we're early. This is where Democrats get nervous because they remember 2016. We cannot emphasize enough. We're nowhere close to the finish line in any of those states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. We need to count votes, and some of those counts could take until tomorrow. But we talked earlier about Joe Biden having the more menu options. Some of those menu options appear to be closing. We're not done yet, but that we still have, that we can't take Florida away. Still red over there. North Carolina, we'll see on Georgia. Joe Biden had many menu options coming into the night. That list is narrowing, which is why you get into tense time.
I want to check in with David Shelley, and who's taking a very close look at the vote in Pennsylvania right now. What are you seeing over there?
Yeah, just exactly what John was talking about. I know it's red on the map right now, but we got to make sure we count the votes here. So what you see is Donald Trump leading Joe Biden in Pennsylvania with 32% of the vote in right now. Let's look at what we know about the early vote. Of that vote that's in, only 18% of it currently is early vote. And we know that Joe Biden is doing much better in the early vote. We expect that 18% to go all the way up to 45%. So there's a ton more early votes still to be counted here, and that could benefit Joe Biden in Pennsylvania. We just have to wait to see that early absentee mail vote come in and be counted. Well,
very interesting. We're watching all these states, and this is a night like none other because of all the early voting, a record number of early voting that we've seen in some states taking a lot longer to count that early vote.
Right. Look, the battleground states are always complicated to begin with. Remember Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin 4 years ago. Remember Florida 4 years ago. Even North Carolina for a while we were looking at it, and then it's spaced out. So they're always complicated anyway. They're all the more complicated this time, and all the more difficult, especially for partisans who want to, who want their guy to win, right? And so let's just talk about what David was talking about. We come down here, Philadelphia County, Philadelphia City, and the counties around it. This is by far, it's 12% or more, depending on turnout, of the vote in Pennsylvania. 22%. So when I pull this back out and you see the state red, okay, again, you always want to be leading. At any point in the race, you like to be leading, but it's not contextual in the sense that we have nothing here. Let's just come over here to Montgomery County, 16%. Joe Biden at 89%. The suburban core around Philadelphia is the name of the game. Democrats have to run up a huge lead. You come over here, Bucks County is the more conservative of the suburban counties around here. If you go back 4 years ago, you'll see this one, 48-47, Bucks County 4 years ago. The challenge for Joe Biden is to try to run it up a little bit more, 50-48. That's about the same, more or less. But again, 12% there, 16% of the estimated vote here. Chester County, 25%. You come back to Delaware County, 16%. So this is where the overwhelming bulk of the votes, the way it gets started in Pennsylvania is Philadelphia and the suburban core around it. I'll just bring this up a little bit. And we don't have many votes. We're still in the single digits or the early teens. We got a long way to go. And so then you come over, you move over to the middle of the state. Again, 52% here, Harrisburg. The president, we know the president is going to run it up in places like this. You get these counties here, 95%, of the vote in here. The president has 70, 68%. The president has 82. Not a lot of people live here. But again, this is how the president does it. In the smaller, more rural counties, he runs it up big. So the challenge again is, we talked about Joe Biden not leading in Ohio right now, but more competitive than Hillary Clinton. Is can he be more competitive in places like Washington County? Right now it's 60.9. One that a lot of people were looking at. There was a Trump rally here just the other day. Westmoreland County, 28% and 63 to 36 if you round it up, 64 to 33. It's pretty close. We'll see Biden maybe a little bit higher than Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. That could matter if it's very close. And we'll watch Allegheny as well, but a long way to count.
Quick break. We have a lot more coming up right after this.
My face was like the elephant in the room.
I had it for so long, makeup would never cover it up.
This is melasma. I'm trying to get rid of it. I've tried everything.
Stop suffering from melasma with Muesli Face RX. Prescription skincare delivered straight to your door.
For me, it was my last resort. I had almost given up.
I actually saw results within a week.
Now that Muesli is out there, people aren't thinking about my melasma anymore. They just see the confident young woman.
See for yourself at muesli.com/TV.
What good is having clean clothes if they don't feel comfortable on your sensitive skin? All Free Clear Cleaning Care. It actively cleans with a keratin-enriched formula that smooths fibers and promotes elasticity. Free of perfumes and dyes, it's a comfortable clean your skin will love. All Free Clear Cleaning Care from the #1 doctor-recommended brand for sensitive skin.
While you watch this historic night unfold, log on to CNN.com for more. The Road to 270, Election 101, results that matter to you with My Election, and more. Election Night in America on CNN and CNN.com.
The race ends here. From the first votes to the critical count, the way only CNN can bring it to you. Election Night in America. Special coverage now on CNN.
I'm Bill Weir from CNN.
How many people are in these kind of conditions?
Climate change is here.
Imagine that wall of flame. This just happened. I've never seen anything like this.
It's a full-blown disaster. To adapt is to survive. My heart breaks for you. We must get it right. It's life. Hey, is that an elefunky?
Hey there, guys. Any room in the middle?
No.
Okie dokie.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
We have some more projections right now. Let's check in New Hampshire. CNN projects that Joe Biden will win the state of New Hampshire, will win its 4 electoral votes. Biden wins in New Hampshire. There are several states now where CNN projects that Trump is winning, 4 states specifically. CNN projects that Trump will win in Louisiana. He beats Biden in Louisiana, wins 8 electoral votes in Louisiana. CNN projects Donald Trump will win in Kansas, beats Biden in Kansas, 6 electoral votes there. Another 6 electoral votes in Utah. Trump wins in Utah. That's the CNN projection. And another 5 electoral votes in Nebraska. 3 out of the 5 electoral votes in Nebraska. 2 of them are still based on a congressional district. 3 out of 5 in Nebraska. So here's where the electoral college map stands right now. Very, very close. Look at this. Biden has 98 electoral college votes. Trump has 95. You need 270 to win the presidency. 98 to 95. Look at how close it is right now. Actually, we have a key race alert right now. Let's check in some of the numbers. Coming in from Michigan, 37% of the vote is in. Trump still maintains a 235,000 vote lead in Michigan, 54.8% to 43.4%. 37% of the vote is in. 33% of the vote is in Pennsylvania. Trump has a 236,000 vote lead in Pennsylvania, 54.3% to 44.3%. 37% of the vote is in Wisconsin. It's close. 25,000 vote lead for Trump over Biden, 50.1% to 48.2%. In Georgia, 58% of the vote is in. Trump has looks like a pretty comfortable lead of 387,000 votes, 55.7% to 43.1% in those states. Let's take a look at some more states right now. In Arizona, right now, 75% of the vote is in. Biden looks like he has a relatively comfortable 208,000 vote lead over Trump, 53.7% to 45%. In Minnesota, 37% of the vote is in. Biden there looks like a pretty comfortable nearly 300,000 vote lead over Trump, 60.7% to 37.2%. In Iowa right now, a quarter of the vote is in. Biden has a 76,000 vote lead over Trump, 57.4% to 41%. Let's go back to John King at the Magic Wall. So let's take a look at the Electoral College map right now. No surprises at all so far. 98 for Biden, 95 for Trump.
And so now you're getting into the battleground states as we flip it out. But again, you need the building blocks to get to 270. First, you got to get to 100. Both candidates knocking on the door of 100 right now. But the key point is no surprises. So in the states so far, the Trump campaign hoped to flip New Hampshire. That hasn't happened. There's nothing on here just yet. The Biden campaign hoped to flip. These were all pretty reliably red states. Everything is coming in as you would like, right? Colorado, New Mexico, Utah. The question is, will there be any surprises, right? So at the moment, you're looking at this map, both campaigns, this is their basic building blocks. So the question is, when you come back here, and again, you start to look at this map, what is it that Joe Biden hoped to change? He thought it was possible. He could flip Florida. We're still waiting on a lot of votes in Georgia, but comfortable lead for the president right now. North Carolina, a narrow lead for the president, but the president is overtaken. The whole challenge was, would there be an election day surge? We'll see if it holds up. Same thing has happened here. Early lead for Joe Biden. This is the anomaly of 2020. Mail-in votes counted. Democrats build an early lead. Election day vote gets counted. Republicans come back. We saw it here. The question is, does it hold up? We're not done yet. Joe Biden thought it might be possible to flip here in a big wave election. Democrats had their hopes up that this was a statement election. Again, we're not done with Texas yet. We're still counting votes there. We don't see it yet. So then you're back to, okay, if there's not a big map-changing, game-changing election, what does it come down to? Well, then we get back to here. And we're nowhere close in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin to counting. So right now, if you're looking at the map and you're thinking, what might Joe Biden flip? Right now, this is, we're not done with it yet, but that gets the president down some. But then to get him down more, we'll see. If you can mount a comeback in Florida, that changes everything. If you can mount a comeback in North Carolina, that changes everything. But if you're looking at the numbers right now, you're back into this calculation up here, Wolf. And if for Joe Biden, the blue wall was why Hillary Clinton lost. And if Joe Biden's going to win, he's going to change some of those.
David Chelyon's getting some insight into what's going on in Michigan right now. What do you see?
This is the state of play in Michigan. You see Donald Trump's lead here, 1.1 million to Joe Biden's 907,000. 37% of the estimated vote is in Michigan right now. But here's what we know about the early vote, okay? Of that 37% that's in, 17% of that current vote is early vote. We expect the share of the early vote to go up. We expect at the end of the night, 55% of the overall vote in Michigan to be early vote. And we know that Joe Biden is doing much better in the early vote. We also know we have almost no early vote in Wayne County, Detroit, big Democratic area, very, very little early vote in Macomb, no early vote at all in Kent. Those two have been sort of battleground counties. So as that share of the early vote goes up, the Biden campaign is hoping he can start to have room here to overtake that lead that Donald Trump currently holds in Michigan. Wolf.
Very interesting indeed. John, let's take a closer look at Michigan right now. That's a key battleground state. Trump won it very narrowly 4 years ago. The Democrats are hoping to win it this time.
It's made, but let me start with your point. Trump won it very narrowly 4 years ago. You see that big lead right there. Even if the president wins Michigan, we have no expectation it would be by such a large margin. That's why, again, you look at certain things and you realize this is an election like no other. We're counting votes in different sequences, so we have to be careful as we go. If you're the Republicans, your Trump campaign, you're looking at the map, you think it's great. But remember, let's come in here. As David noted, Wayne County, about 28%. This is Detroit and the suburbs around it. By far, it's about 18% of the vote, 18% in a high turnout election. It could be a little higher than that. 147,000 right there. Let's just go back in time. 519,000 votes for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago, and Democrats were disappointed. The turnout was down in Wayne County compared to 2012. But remember, so you have 519,000 then. This is a higher turnout election